Maria Corina Machado, welcome to our program.
Thank you very much.
Now, you are one very brave woman. We're obviously not saying where you're coming from because you are in hiding. You are in Venezuela. At the time when the president is really going full blast on arresting dissidents, Operation Knock Knock, coming for them. I assume you're one of the victims or one of the targets. Are you not afraid?
Well, at this point, Christiane, everyone in Venezuela is afraid for losing our freedom or even our lives. But above all, we are committed to make the truth prevail and popular sovereignty expressed in our votes be respected and get a transition to democracy peacefully and orderly so that our kids can come back home.
So let's start a little bit at the beginning. It's clear from everything we read that the Maduro regime was absolutely convinced they were going to win, and are even complaining that, hang on, we were betrayed because the poor people, the people in different neighborhoods, our usual supporters, betrayed us. They said they were going to vote for us. What happened? What happened at the last minute?
Well, I think what happened started months ago. A social movement with very, very deep roots started emerging. It has its moment. It's a movement for redemption and liberation in which women, mothers, are in the first line. And we were able to demolish all barriers that the regime had created among Venezuelans, dividing us in every single, idea, black and white, rich and poor, left and right. And we managed to come together around common values, the family, our dignity, our freedom, justice. The fact that we want our kids back home, as I said before, I would say this is the center desire that unites Venezuelans together today. So the regime lost total touch with reality, and they lost their social base. And we came over with a movement with no resources, totally censored, persecuted. Our top campaign managers are either in prison or taking asylum in an embassy. And we were able to get this, epic journey take place. And that day, millions of Venezuelans on July 28 came out courageously, and over 1 million of them had specific tasks to defend the vote. And it was simply extraordinary what they did.
I mean, it certainly was extraordinary, and it certainly, as I say, caught them all off guard. So let's just clarify, because you are the leader of the opposition, but they banned you from running. Therefore, you backed a different candidate. You backed Edmundo Gonzalez. And what you have done, I believe, is train an army of volunteers to actually go out, find the tallies, the actual vote tallies, to show the actual truth of what happened. Describe that operation for me, because, as you know, the Maduro regime, the Attorney General, is accusing you all of lying and of having, falsified those results.
Well, the fact is that we have terrible previous experience. Maduro has put in place sham elections for decades, dozens of them. So we decided that this time it was going to be different. We would have the proof of our victory. So we started over a year ago, identifying people, training them, giving them, inspiration and increasing the will to fight, so that we could be in every single polling center. There are 15,797 of them, and every single polling station, it's over 30,000. And we trained them. We worked with all political parties, civil society, volunteers. Everybody was volunteered. And we managed to have people in every single one of them, not only inside as what they call polling monitors or witnesses, but actually to have groups of citizens, volunteers around the center, protecting them, bringing them food or water or coffee. And it was a, incredible journey. We started monitoring the process in the morning. We realized that There were threats to take our monitors out. So we had the communities push for them to get back in, and so they did. And at the end of the day, at 6 o'clock, when the stations start to close, we started receiving the information through an application, an app that read the QR codes, the tally sheets that were printed had. So we had the right by law to get a copy that is an original copy, an original document from every single electoral machine. And so we did. Many of our volunteers were persecuted, but we had the support and cooperation of members of the armed forces that worked protecting the electoral process. So we were able to gather them, to take them to safe places around the country. They were scanned, digitalized, and put into a web page. It is the first time this has ever happened in Venezuela.
Well, it really
So
is extraordinary. I mean, the story that you tell, the documents that you were able to redeem and publish is, as you say, it's the first time it's happened, and it tells a story in black and white. I want to just play for you, because I want to know what you think is going to happen next. And I want to go back to an interview I did with Maduro back in Caracas in 2014 about democracy. Here's a little bit of that conversation. Are you concerned about forfeiting your democratic legitimacy?
A mí lo que me preocupa es la democracia venezolana, que se siga fortaleciendo.
My concern is to strengthen democracy. These accusations have been made for 15 years, and they crashed against the reality of Venezuela. Tell me the country in the world with 19 elections in the 15 years.
But it's not just elections, sir, you know that. You won your election, but it's not just elections. I'm talking about what happens in governance, of the accumulation of power after election.
Parece que es importante hacer elecciones en
Well,
democracia.
it is important to have elections in a democracy.
But it's also important what to do after those elections.
We have a democracy strengthened at all levels.
So that was 10 years ago, and it appears that he's saying the same stuff, that we are the protectors of democracy. So what do you think will happen next? Is there any negotiation? Is there any way that you see as a transition out of what appears to be a stalemate right now, with a violent crackdown?
Yes, I would say that today is a totally different moment from then. The regime is at its weakest position ever. They have lost total legitimacy, and what they had done is unleash a campaign of terror, persecution. I mean, even yesterday, the fact-finding mission from the United Nations denounced that there are patterns of crimes against humanity in what they're doing right now. Over 2,000 people detained, 24 killed. So what they are going against are people which are right now in hiding all over the country. But he's losing more and more support and getting more and more isolated. On the contrary, we now have the legitimacy because we won, and the world recognizes that we have won. So Maduro, I think right now is not reading correctly his own options. We are certainly willing to move ahead into a negotiation process in which we are willing to give Maduro and the regime the guarantees so that these could move smoothly, orderly, as fast as possible.
What guarantee? What guarantee?
Well, there's a wide option for different people, and we certainly don't think you should get into details before a negotiation starts. What I'm saying is that we are certainly willing to do it. We will start as first point with a recognition of popular sovereignty expressed on July 28th, and we will certainly are willing to call for the whole country, even the Chavista base, to come together in rebuilding Venezuela and stopping migration. One thing I would like to highlight, Christiane, just between July 28th and August the 5th, migration through Brazil increased 7 times. 7 times. So we need to stop this. And the only way we can do that is give a future of prosperity and freedom for our kids in their country. And that's what we are working on right now.
I mean, I know you're not going to go into details, but is amnesty one of the things that you would offer, put on the table?
I think it's too early to get into details.
Okay, so, but here's the other question then. You have said since the election, the regime could never have imagined that our movement would grow in numbers and slowly take over the entire voting base of Chavismo. The poor and rural people who fueled Hugo Chávez's meteoric rise are now disillusioned and have taken control of their future. So do you believe that is enough pressure that would cause him to actually enter negotiations? Or, as you've said, he has the military, they have declared themselves loyal to him, he has Cuban intelligence, he has the support of other nations who you just mentioned. What is stronger? Where does he place his bet?
Well, I think, as I said before, he's not doing a correct evaluation of where he's standing. His situation is unsustainable. I mean, Venezuela will fight until the end, and we will keep on, getting stronger and stronger. We will maintain our pressure in the streets. We call for a worldwide manifestation this Saturday. We expect to be in more than 100 cities around the world and many dozens of cities in Caracas, in Venezuela as well. And we will, and we are reaching out to international community to press Maduro and to show him that there is unanimously position in the EU, in the Americas, regarding that he has to let go and accept the terms for a negotiated solution. How long will it take? Nobody knows, Christiane. For the sake of our people, we are working really hard for it to be as fast as possible. But the important thing is that there's no way back. We will not give up. We will prevail. And this is a totally different moment in which Venezuelan society is united and the world, the democratic world, is behind us.
And so are you satisfied with the reaction of the democratic world, whether it's in Latin America, where you are, whether it's in Europe, the United States? What are you asking them all to do?
We're asking them to first of all, recognize what the Venezuelan people did, recognize the truth, make popular sovereignty be respected, and therefore recognize Edmundo González as president-elect. And we are moving in that direction. Right now, what many countries are doing is still urging Maduro so that they present the actual tally sheets, the official numbers. I mean, the Electoral Council hasn't showed one number. They declare Maduro president with a napkin. So, but I think that time is getting, to an end. I mean, it's obvious they're not going to present tally sheets because they prove what we have right now, and that what have been scrutinized, I have to say, by scholars, academics, the different institutions, the Carter Center, which make a very clear statement regarding that Maduro's so-called results aren't true. So I think the international community has to increase that pressure, has to increase the cost of repression, Christiane, because what it's going right now is horror. It is horror. We're seeing as young people are took out of their houses. Houses are marked with a cross at their doors. Journalists have been detained. 4 of them have been accused of terrorism. This is happening as we speak. But we're not going to stop, and we need the international community not only helping us, giving incentives for the regime to go, and making him understand that it's going to be costlier and costlier as every day goes by to stay in power, surrounded by the military and exercising violence on innocent people.
And finally, is it your understanding that the United States offered incentives to get him to essentially respect the rules of the election and accept whatever the result was?
We will certainly need the United States on our side for incentives to the real, important, significant, and credible threats as well. And I have to say that I'm thankful to the Biden administration as well as both parties at Congress. Venezuela has been a bipartisan issue because of its critical important for national security of the U.S. and for the security of the hemisphere. So I expect this to keep going in this sense, but to get more and more support. And the American society and the whole world understand how critical is this opportunity, and that we have a real opportunity to solve it peacefully in the short term.
Maria Corina Machado, thank you so much indeed, Venezuelan opposition leader. Thank you very much.
Thank you.